Well, here's a sentence that hasn't been said in over a decade. The Philadelphia Union are on a losing streak at home. We'll tell you exactly what happened at Subaru Park on Saturday night as the Union dropped their third match in their last 4 tries. Plus, we'll gear up for a weekend preview as the boys in blue head back out on the road. All that and more as Union Insider starts right now.
Kevan Dodd takes the strike on, and it's off the inside of the post. Just for the Argentine. Oh, brilliant! Martinez fires.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. I'm your host, Marisa, and as always, I'm joined by former Union forward Sebastian Latou and former Union defender Sheanon Williams. Well, guys, we know this past weekend the Union were looking to get back in the win column for the first time in over a month. But the once friendly confines of Subaru Park have turned out to be anything but for Philly this season. The Union only have one home win this year, which is tied for the fewest in the league. So here's how Saturday's match against Orlando played out. Things looked to have gotten off on the right foot for the Union. 11th minute, after a bad clearance from Orlando, Jack McGlynn takes the ball over outside the 18, squares it to Nate Harriel, and instead of shooting, Harriel threads the needle to Mikel Ura, who gives the Union an early 1-0 lead. But that lead wouldn't last long. 21st minute, a throw-in for Orlando results in a cross from the touchline into the box. And who's there to head it in? Duncan McGuire, of course, his 5th goal of the season. And we're all tied up at 1. Just before the half, the Union turned the ball over in a risky spot, and Orlando takes possession and moves the ball forward after some good passing around the Luis Muriel strikes the ball with his left foot and gives the visitors a 2-1 lead after the first 45. Orlando didn't miss a beat coming back in from the half. Before the Union could even touch the ball, Muriel finds the ball, and the ball finds the back of the net yet again. Just 1 minute into the second half, and Orlando has a 3-1 lead. But the Union didn't go down without a fight, and Orlando handball in the box sets up a Daniel Gazdag PK in the 66th minute. This one he converts, and he brings the Union back within 1. And it wouldn't be his last opportunity of the match. Nate Harriel is taken down in the box, and the Union are awarded another penalty. But this time Gazdag's efforts would be stifled by Orlando keeper Pedro Galaise, and Gazdag misses the putback to keep the score 3-2 Orlando, which would be the final score in this one as the Union dropped their 3rd straight MLS match at home, the first time they've done that since the 2012 season. So we have been saying for weeks, we need the Union to get off to a hot start. They need to score first. They did just that against Orlando, but they couldn't keep that lead. What happened there?
I mean, for me, calling the game on the radio, I really love, the first 10, 15 minutes of the game. They really press like we ask for. They really putting Galaise, especially on the defense, in a difficult spot to kind of try to build out of the back, and they won the ball pretty high, and it's how they score. The first goal, of course, it comes from a corner, but before the corner, the opportunity was, from a high press to win the ball. So they did very well, but then after they score, maybe they kind of went back a little bit, let's say in less intensity, or how to keep putting pressure on this defense. But it's just the mistakes. For me, they did too many mistakes out of the back. And on the first goal, even if yes, it come from a nice cross from Lodero from Maguire, but he started with Nathan Ariel, who got the ball, win it, and kind of trip himself. The ball went in a throw in, then kind of everybody is looking at each other, ball watching, and after 2 plays, good cross, goal. The second one, like you say, Martinez mistake as well. And all of this then brings the team in a very low confidence, and we all expect a reaction right after halftime. And it's another quick goal, like you say, without anybody of the Union touching the ball, and now it's 3-1. So it was very hard, to kind of see the reaction of the team. But as soon as they keep pressing again, this is where they got all those opportunities. 2 PKs, a goal, from Sullivan, who got cancelled for maybe an offside, maybe not. It was very close, but you saw them now pressing more and winning the ball. So as soon as they stop doing it, they start doing mistakes, and of course, we forgot about all the good things they did, and we just see the result, and now it's, a loss again at home against Orlando.
Right, that's why we're here. We got to talk about the mistakes, though, and break down what exactly happened. So why can't they sustain that good pressure that they start off with?
I think that they're a little bit reactionary. I think that after teams hit them with a goal, or after they make a mistake, then they start to pick things up, and they have to bring that energy from the start. We saw them score the early goal, but then they weren't able to keep that energy going. And that's not something that you're used to seeing, especially with them being at home. You're used to seeing them be high energy, a lot of goals at home. Now it's gone on the flip side, and they're giving up too many goals. And that's a big part of it. The mistakes are really hurting them right now. There's too many mistakes from too many individuals that they're counting on to play big minutes and to give them huge efforts in games. So right now the mistakes are haunting them.
Yeah, you said it's uncharacteristic for them to be dropping games at home, but it's also uncharacteristic for this team to be giving up as many goals as they are. If you could pinpoint one thing that they could fix on defense that you think will have a huge effect, what would it be?
For me, it's got to be the focus. I think that there's too many times where there's a lapse in focus, and those moments, they lead to goals. And we saw Martinez give away the ball on a simple pass. We saw not marking up well in the box with Duncan McGuire on the first goal. These things can't happen, and you have to stay focused for 90 minutes or good teams will punish you, and Orlando's done it. We saw Salt Lake come in and do it, and this is happening time and time again, and it's something that they have to do a better job of.
In terms of generating offense, how can they be better going forward?
I mean, I think they have been good. They have been creating some chances. Let's say a lot of them, for me, come a lot, for set pieces, with Kai Wagner and his left foot, which is good. But I will have a bit more, build up. We saw it a little bit before the goal of Orlando came back to 1-1. It was a great opportunity between Sullivan, Ura, and Gazdag got a shot on Galese. Who, it's those type of opportunity I would love to see more in a game, to have the guys kind of like combining with each other, running up each other, and playing close to each other. Which sometimes when the team doesn't do well, we saw them more, let's say, spread out, the ball got play, and it's one after another, they react. So it's, kind of a work of everything, but they score goals. It's not, they don't score. It's just the defense, they need to tie it up. And of course, like Jim said in his press conference, it's not just pointing at one or two guys. It's the entire group who need to do a better job together.
Even with the disappointing result, we do still have a play we can break down this week in key plays presented by Subaru. Sheanon is at the video board to break down Mikel Ura's goal for us. Sheanon, what do you got?
I've got our key play of the week this week. It comes off a second phase of the Union's first goal that Michael Ua scores. Quinn Sullivan doing a good job to head the ball back and keep it alive. It finds its way out to Jack McGlynn, who finds a good pocket of space with Nathan Harriel in it. Gazdag doing a good job to pull the defenders away. A good ball into Michael Ua. We'll see it here again. Good ball from McGlynn to Harriel. Gazdag running out wide to pull these two defenders, and then Michael Ua with the calm, collective finish in the 18-yard box. It's a good second phase attack by the Union. Again, Gazdag won't get the credit, but he pulls these two defenders to open up that space. We see an Orlando City defender fall over his own feet, and Michael Ua does the right thing, which is just to pass it into the back of the net. It's a good first goal by this Union squad. Again, it's just the run by Gazdag that opens up that space for Ua here. And again, the finish is calm, cool, and collective, something that we need to see more out of Michael Ua this year.
Great stuff, Sheanon. We've got more Union Insider for you in a bit, but first, here's your Union trivia question presented by United Concordia. Who is the youngest player to score a goal in Union history? Find out the answer later in the show. This season, the Union are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of their partnership with Musselman's Applesauce, the club's official applesauce. To mark the 10-year anniversary, Musselman's is donating 10,000 cups of applesauce to 10 different organizations that include schools, food banks, and nonprofit organizations. Musselman's was honored at the Union's match against Orlando City SC on Saturday to celebrate their decade-long partnership and community efforts. Welcome back to Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross. Last week, the Union made a historic signing as they inked 14-year-old Kevan Sullivan to the largest homegrown deal in MLS history. During last week's show, we heard from sporting director Ernst Tanner about the signing. This week, we hear from the kid himself. Sage Hurley has more on this week's Union Roundup presented by Green Mountain Energy.
Welcome back to Union Roundup. I'm Sage Hurley here with the latest news from the club's campus in Chester. This time, we'll dive into the recent buzz spurred by a certain 14-year-old center attacking midfielder who's made international headlines. Last Thursday, Kevan Sullivan signed a record deal with the Philadelphia Union, becoming the youngest player signed to a first-team contract in club history. His contract also marked the largest for a homegrown that the league has ever seen. After the announcement, he held his first ever press conference as a professional, joining head coach Jim Curtin, Union 2 coach Marlon LeBlanc, and director of academy and professional development John Shear to discuss the historic moment.
To start off, the Union means almost everything to me. It's my club. Watching Quinn on the sidelines of his games, and I've just been in and around the club since I was a little kid. So yeah, this is my home, and it's an honor to sign here for my first professional contract. But it means a lot that they see the talent in me at such a young age, and I wanna prove myself and work for this club and this city and all these fans. So yeah, it meant a lot to finally get announced, and I know everyone's proud of me, and it means a lot for my family. But to be honest, nothing really has happened yet, and the work starts now. I still have a lot to do, and you know, my main goal is to win the MLS Cup, so development starts now, and it does feel nice, but still a lot of work to do for my part, and a lot of room to grow.
Kevan's agreement to begin his professional career in Philadelphia is a momentous one, not just for the club, but for the entire city. He was born and raised in Philadelphia, and he's been part of the Philadelphia Union Academy for the last 4 years. He's following in the footsteps of his 20-year-old older brother Quinn, who took a similar path to the pros, starting at the academy, then playing minutes for the club's MLS Next Pro team, Union 2, before signing a deal in 2021. Quinn's since become a starter on the squad, and he's having a breakout season this year. Entering this week, he started 11 games in the regular season, contributing a goal and 4 assists over 940 minutes played. It's been a special year for the Sullivans, and they're only getting started. The club staff haven't yet announced when Kevan will make his debut, but if he gets on the field before July 29th, 2024, he will become the youngest player to make his debut among the top North American professional sports leagues. I'm talking MLB, MLS, NBA, NFL, NHL, and WSL. He'd also be the youngest player to make his debut among the top 5 European soccer leagues. That being said, Kevan could make history again this summer for the Philadelphia Union, but for now, that's all for this week's edition of Union Roundup. We'll see you next time.
And speaking of the young Sullivan, let's take a deeper dive into what his signing means for the Union. The newest member of the Philadelphia Union gets the spotlight in this week's player profile presented by Subaru. The 14-year-old joined the Union Academy when he was 10 years old, which of course wasn't all that long ago. He's the youngest player to sign a first-team contract in Union history and the 5th youngest to do so in MLS history. He absolutely tore it up in the academy, including leading the U15s to the 2023 CONCACAF Boys Championship, where he won the Golden Ball after scoring 4 goals in the tournament. He also helped lead the U17s to the Generation Adidas Cup Championship this season, their 2nd in a row. So this young man, 14 years old, signs a professional deal. First of all, let's think back to what we were all doing at 14. I wasn't anywhere near being a professional. I'm not sure about you two. But what do you look for in a player who is that young that shows you that they can handle that next stage of their career?
I mean, he was born the first year of the Union when we start playing. It's pretty impressive. But for him, we all know the quality of Kevan. I think he's been, in a radar of a lot of teams in Europe for a long time. You saw him, play for the national team, very very successful. Playing for U17 when you're just a U14 is pretty impressive. He's still a small player in size, but he's not afraid in a contact. He's not afraid of playing. He has a level. But if you talk with everybody who saw him play for a long time, a lot of people saying at his position as a number 10, which is his favorite position to play in, is one maybe of the 2-3 best in the world right now. It's what I heard from a lot of people, and you can see his quality. He's still very young, but there's a lot of now things that people are waiting from him. Hopefully, he's going to learn a lot, now signing with a professional contract, being here every day, with his teammates and kind of learning more, but we might see him, very soon on the field.
Yeah, what do you think the Union have to instill around Kevan to make sure he develops in the proper way?
Just to give him that support that he's going to need. It's obviously helpful to have your brother on the team and to have family in and around you, and I know that I'm sure his family is doing a great job with him, and this will be the hardest part now because it's really now all starting for him. It's not going to be easy anymore for him to get through games. He's going to have to work for minutes, and that's not something that he's had to do before. So now the hard work really kicks in, and you want to see him hit the ground running. So that support system around him is really important, and he has it with his family and also his brother, who's doing really well this season.
This signing isn't just significant for him in terms of a life-changing transition, but it's also significant for the club as well. How do you kind of extrapolate the significance of this signing in terms of the academy and what that has done for young players?
Well, we've seen what the academy has been able to produce, especially for this Union squad and the starters that have come through and the players that they've sold so far. So it's just the next step and the next person that's joining that family of people to come through the academy. It's a huge step for the academy. Having somebody signed at such a young age just speaks to how well they're doing and getting these players ready for the next level.
We're coming up on a break for the Union Insider, but when we return, we'll turn the page to the Union's matchup this weekend and get these guys to give us keys to the game against New England. We'll be right back after this. Time for this week's ChickfilA Nugget of the Week. After converting one penalty kick in Saturday's match against Orlando, Daniel Gazda's second attempt was saved. This ended his penalty kick scoring streak at 23 straight matches, which is an MLS record. The Union are back on the road this weekend to take on the New England Revolution for the first time this season, so it's time for the guys to turn over their keys to the game presented by Subaru. Seba, what will be key against New England?
I think, to come back playing away, I think the line need to be very tight, between the defense and the midfield, especially like those second balls. I think we have not been winning a lot, in the past few games when we play away. I think we need to have a really, tight, defense between the midfield and the defense to always, whoever won the first ball, to be here for the second one. I think it was a bit too much space, especially when we play with the, diamond midfield. There's always just maybe one guy in the midfield instead of having maybe two or three to be here to win the second ball. So I will expect to have tighter line, being patient, not really pressing too much, but then be able to win those balls and go in counter-attacks.
All right, how about for you?
For me, it's going to be to maintain focus while defending. We've seen them give up some cheap goals. No unmarked runners in the box, no untimely turnovers in the defensive end. These things come down to focus, and if they can do a better job of staying focused through a 90-minute stretch, they won't concede as many goals. They've given up too many goals so far this season, and that's something that they have to correct. We know that on the offensive side, they're going to be able to score. Can they stop conceding so many goals?
And the Union and New England played 4 times a season ago, including two times in the playoffs. There was a lot of familiarity between these two sides, but this is the first time they've seen each other this season. What's the biggest difference for each club?
The biggest difference is right now New England is in the bottom of the standing, so a lot of pressure on them. The Union is not, where they're supposed to be in the standing as well. So there's a lot of pressure in both of the teams to get a result. For New England, it's a new coach, Caleb Porter, who just came in. So I feel like he's in a hurry to get, some 3 points at home to give, some, let's say, positive vibe to his team. And at the same time, for the Union, it's to kind of get back in this season. They've been good when they're playing away, always, getting a point. So they need to kind of find the same strategy to get out of New England with minimum a point. A win will be great, but we all know how difficult it is when you play a team in the bottom of the standing, because you don't want to be, too kind or too nice, saying that it's going to be an easy game. They're going to fight for their life, and it's going to be a battle. So they need to be ready, especially for a 3-week game. It's going to be the third one. So let's see who is healthy. Let's see who has the energy to get a result, and it's going to be that way on Saturday.
It was a busy weekend in MLS, so let's take a look at some other big moments in this week's Around the League presented by Torque. In one of the fiercest rivalries in MLS, the Hell is Real matchup took place between the Columbus Crew and visiting FC Cincinnati. It was scoreless affair until Kevin Kelsey and Lucho Acosta scored 2 minutes apart in the second half, giving FCC a 2-0 lead as they hold on for the 2-1 win in Columbus. And after being held goalless against the Union last week, Christian Benteke exploded down in Atlanta, scoring his second hat trick of the season and being tied in the Golden Boot race in MLS, all while helping DC United win 3-2 over Atlanta United, picking up a huge 3 points in one of the toughest places to visit in the league. When Union Insider returns, Seba and Sheanon will give us their players to watch for Saturday's match as the Union face off against the New England Revolution. We'll be right back after this. Here's the answer to this week's Union Trivia question presented by United Concordia. Quinn Sullivan is the youngest player in Union history to score a goal, as he did so at exactly 17 years and 3 months old on June 27, 2021 against Chicago Fire FC. All right, it's the final segment here on Union Insider presented by Independence Blue Cross, which means to wrap things up, we're going to need some All-State players to watch. Seba, who are you keeping an eye on?
So not sure which lineup Jim is going to go to, and I will go with the holding midfielder. I think it's going to be Martinez, so I'm going to go with Martinez for that game. I think Jose has been pretty good when he always stay as a center midfielder. Sometimes when he kind of go too much to the right, too much in the left, he spend too much energy, and then we are missing that guys that we really need in a center midfield to win those second balls. So we saw him, giving up, the ball away, the last game at home against Orlando, and you don't want him to do that again. You want him to have a full complete game, really being strong, and his strong thing is to bring the energy to this team, to make them fired up, to win the ball, to win the second ball, and it's what we need from Martinez. So I'm expecting him to have a big game, and hopefully with his energy, we are going to get another 3 points away in New England.
Yeah, that Martinez energy is pretty contagious when it's on. How about you, Sheanon?
I'm going to go with Nate Harriel. I think that he's done a good job so far this season. I think that the Union have been really good on set pieces, and I look for him to be a part of that again against New England. Had some chances last year when they played New England, so I look for him to be open, potentially get on the score sheet. We saw him with the assist against Orlando last weekend, so hopefully he can make an impact. We know defensively he'll have to have a good game against the likes of ChickfilA and also Carlos Heel for New England, so hopefully he can do it on both ends of the field and have a good game.
Yeah, he's been brewing a little bit too, so it'll be interesting to see if he can kind of take things another step forward against New England. That's going to do it for this one. The Union are on the road this weekend as they travel up to Foxborough to take on the New England Revolution on Saturday. This one's at 7:30 p.m. and can be seen on MLS Season Pass. Sheanon alongside Dave Leno will be on the radio call 97.5 The Fanatic. But for Sheanon and Seba, I'm Marisa, and we'll see you next week.